Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Gwent, and today we're playing the new Power Shift seasonal event, which is an alternate game mode in which at the start of the match, every unit in our deck gets its power set to its provision cost. That means that low power units with high provisions are suddenly way more powerful. Today we're using a deck that uses one of the new cards with a combo that I'm not sure people have realized works, but it is amazing. So let's go check it out. So today we'll be using a Skellige Rage of the Sea deck that will focus on dealing a lot of damage with weather effects and getting boosted in the process, while also doing an interesting combination of healing and damaging our own cards. So of course for weather we'll have cards like the Melusine Cultist, and Melusine herself along with our leader ability to get a lot of rain to happen. Then with Fulmar we'll convert that rain into storm, dealing more damage in the process. The Messengers of the Sea will get boosted whenever we deal damage with those weather effects. And then we can use Fucusya to play a card from our graveyard, most notably Rioghan, to trigger any remaining weather effects that we have all at once. So that's the weather aspect. But also remember that Melusine damages herself whenever we use her order ability, and damages adjacent units at the end of our turn to increase her base power. And that is a very significant component that I think some people may have forgotten about, because that plays beautifully along with Cerys Fearless, who, after we've damaged our own units 9 times, will summon herself from our deck onto the board, and because Melusine damages herself and damages adjacent units, we can damage 3 cards in one turn with just Melusine alone, so we can get Cerys out quickly, and then because Melusine increases her base power and damages herself regularly, she's a perfect target for Cerys to heal for a lot of value, which Cerys can do every turn, making Cerys plus Melusine an awesome combo that I think a lot of people may have missed. And with the damage component of Cerys' ability, we will use the Havfrue Singer to spawn in 2-power Deafening Sirens anytime we heal, and since Cerys heals, we will get a Deafening Siren anytime we use her ability, and then we can use the damaging component of Cerys' ability to destroy a Siren, and in all likelihood, Cerys' ability will be healing Melusine for several points, meaning that we'll probably be over-damaging the Siren, but since it only has 2 power, at worst, we're dealing 2 damage to ourselves, so when you factor in the high amount of healing that Cerys will do to Melusine, or the cards next to Melusine, and subtract the just 2 damage that we will be dealing to ourselves with the second half of Cerys' ability, and on net, it should still work out quite well in our favor. Other than that, we have a few other cards that will damage our own units, or in some cases, either damage or heal our own units. That way, if we don't have Melusine, or if Melusine doesn't trigger Cerys quickly enough, we have other ways to get Cerys onto the board. So that's the general idea for the deck, but now I'll flip through to show you what else we have. For the most part, I think we've discussed everything. It is basically a matter of things that either cause rain or benefit from the rain that we cause, or on the other half, it might be cards that damage or heal our own units. We also do have a lot of ways to get cards out from our graveyard, including Sigrdrifa's Rite, and this is great for either, obviously, Rioghan, or if we play Melusine early and get her to increase her base power significantly in, say, round 1, then we can use Sigrdrifa's Rite in round 2 or round 3 to get Melusine back, and she'll have that increased base power, so she will give us a lot of carryover in that way. And Bride of the Sea is a way to play Sigrdrifa's Rite again. And Ermion is a way to get Sigrdrifa's Rite more consistently. Freya's Blessing, best target is most often going to be those Messengers of the Sea, although Havfrue Singer is also a good candidate if you need to spawn in some weak units for Cerys to damage. Red Haze is a good source of damage because, what with Power Shift increasing a lot of units' power, there's a decent chance our opponents might play some big units next to each other. And then Armored Drakkar is a card we can make the target of some of our self-damage. And the Heymaey Herbalist gives us a little more healing. So there's a look at the deck, and like I said, it is a combination of weather effects and then throwing in Cerys, because she works really well to heal Melusine, and as long as we have some little units to damage, then the downside of her order ability shouldn't be that bad. So let's go see it in action. Alright, so going up against monsters here, and we'll go first. Okay, and this hand is looking strong. We have Melusine, we have Fucusya, we have Royal Decree. We may not need 2 Havfrue Singers, though. Okay, Svalblod Cultist does work well with this Havfrue Singer, so yes, I think we probably stick with what we have here. And let's start with the Melusine Cultist. And it's natural selection, which is not enough to remove said cultist, but is a little concerning. So maybe we go with the Svalblod Cultist next to it to heal it up a bit. And then the Garcane. Alright. Well, now let's go with Melusine. Now there is a cultist on either side of her, so that's great. And I think we'd like to still wait before we use this Melusine Cultist ability. It is going to take some damage from Melusine here, so we can't be too picky. And yes, something's going down here. Oh, they're purifying Melusine, okay. That way they can get the bleed on her. That's interesting. But let's get some more healing going with the Havfrue Singer. You could make the case for healing Melusine here, but let's go with the Melusine Cultist just because that's going to go down pretty quickly. And I would love to use Melusine or the Melusine Cultist order abilities, but they just don't have enough units out here for it to be worth it. No pass. Wow. Okay, very quick round one in that case. We at least had a little bit of time to increase Melusine's base power, which will continue to happen here for just a little while longer. Okay, so we draw into Svalblod Priest, Armored Drakkar, and Freya's Blessing. We have 2 of our 3 alchemy cards in our hand right now, so we need to be a little bit careful with that since we have Ermion and we may run out of cards to tutor with him. We did play 1 more card than our opponent in round 1, so we might just use 2 throwaway cards here, in which case maybe it's going to be the Svalblod Priest plus the Armored Drakkar. So maybe that means we stick with this in that case. So let's go with the Armored Drakkar first. And they're going Naglfar into Orianna. That's a pretty big commitment. Now, they may not realize that we are not necessarily trying to do anything all that big here, but Svalblod Priest next to Armored Drakkar will start to damage it and remove that armor, and of course, Svalblod Priest will get boosted in the process as well. Now they're going Neckarat. The question here being, do we try to push it all, or do we just leave it at this and say, alright, I mean, we bled out Orianna, and that's something. Of course, they might have Witch's Sabbath, but I think we just stick with this. Okay, with one more play, they will apply a little more bleed. They have to be a little bit careful here. We do still have some engines going, but yes, they will win round 2. Okay, so now we have Svalblod Cultist plus Havfrue Singer, which is a good combo. That way we can consistently spawn in those Deafening Sirens. And since they're Carapace, there's a non-zero chance that they're going to break out Celtellus here, and so having a bunch of 2-powered Sirens to throw out there to sacrifice to Celtellus rather than the cards we actually care about might not be a bad thing. Other than that, I think we can make this work. Bride of the Sea is big, because that means we can now use Royal Decree for Fulmar. It's Yigern. Ooh. Well, it is weaker than usual, for what it's worth. And it is potentially a good target for Red Haze, depending on what, if anything, they play next to it. So I think we start by going with Freya's Blessing here, to get the Melusine Cultist back out. Then it's Cave Troll. Okay, I was wondering if they were going to put that in the range row. It's melee. And like I was saying, I was suspicious of potentially Celtellus, and a melee row Cave Troll may further reinforce that suspicion. We do have some big units here, with Melusine and with Fucusya, so that might not be a bad thing. So what if we go Sigrdrifa's right now, to get Melusine back? No, it's Unseen Elder. Okay, I suppose we did see some vampires, so that does make some sense. But the Veil on Melusine will definitely be helpful. And now the question of, do we use the Rain on their range row to try to get rid of Yigern, or do we go melee row where they have more units and probably will continue to play more units behind that defender? I think we still go melee row, at least with this first one here. And we'll see if we can save the Melusine Cultist. We would like to have Rain in the range row at least at some point, because Melusine Cultist can give boosts in that case. Then let's heal Melusine using the Svalblod Cultist. And remember, we've not yet gotten Cerys out from our deck. Okay, it's a Fletter. And yes, they do have devotion, so we are seeing double bleed procs from the Unseen Elder, so that is dangerous. So now let's go with the Havfrue Singer and heal up the Cultist, giving us one of these Sirens and making this Cultist hang on for a little while longer. Let's use Melusine again, and we should be getting quite close to Cerys. Okay, now it's Detloff. Some more vampires. And Blood Moon. And if we damage ourselves one more time, we should get Cerys out here, and we could certainly use some heals right about now. So I think let's go Messenger of the Sea to capitalize a little bit more on our reign. We should definitely use the Melusine Cultist ability now. I think we probably just go for the reign because, well, he's not going to live long enough to take advantage of the boost coming from having reign in the opposite row. We'll use Melusine here as well. That will bring out Cerys. With Cerys, we can either heal Melusine or heal the Melusine Cultist. Let's actually go Melusine, I suppose. Okay, then it's Feast of Blood on Melusine does purify her. That is a little bit troublesome because it means she can now get bled, but of course, Melusine is our usual person we are going to want to heal with Cerys, so taking damage on her is not a terrible thing. Now I think what we do is we go Bride of the Sea into Freya's Blessing, and then just get a Havfrue Singer out here. That way we can do more of this Deafening Siren spawning. That way we can heal and damage accordingly. Technically should have done that in the opposite order, but that means we can negate much of the damage that we are taking with Melusine. Crimson Curse. All the Blood Moons. Alright, so now let's go Ermion. And with him, get Freya's Blessing. And with that, we can, I guess, spawn in more. Then let's use Melusine. Then use Cerys. Okay, now it's the Apiarian Phantom. They don't have a lot of time for that to get boosted up. So now let's go with our leader ability charges here. We are just going to absolutely decimate this melee row eventually. But for now, it's Royal Decree into Fulmar. That is going to be the way that we convert that from Rain into Storm. And at this point, we may be able to just throw a little bit of Rain on that row. Let's use some more Rain, heal Melusine, destroy a Siren. Okay, now they're going after Cerys. They will get rid of her. She did do a lot of good work for us, though. And so, unfortunately, we can't really use Red Haze here. There's only one unit in this row, and we can't get past the Defender in their melee row. So that means we're looking for a slightly early Fucusya. So do we want to power up the melee row damage, or get closer to taking out Yiggern? No, I think we just go maximize the melee row damage, convert this, and then that means we want to play Fucusya in this range row, so we don't accidentally override that storm there. Then we play Rioghan, and this is, of course, our big finisher. We're just playing a little bit earlier than we might have otherwise liked. And, well, it's a pretty big deal, as you can see. So they'll just pass. Yes, we do have Red Haze, which we could now use to deal a tiny bit of damage in their melee row. Not that it matters. We will take the win, because Cerys plus Melusine with a little bit of Rioghan is amazing. Alright, so going up against Scoia'tael here, and we'll go first. Okay, so we're really looking for a way to play Melusine, and we have one with Royal Decree. That's great. Alzur's Double Cross would give us Fucusya. I don't think we need 2 Red Hazes. That's probably a little bit overkill. And then probably Heymaey Herbalist. Get rid of you. Okay, there is Fucusya. That means this will give us Fulmar now. Then maybe we get rid of one of our Havfrue Singers. Okay, so let's start with the Melusine Cultist. And they have Invigorate, so they are going with some kind of hand boosting. And they're doing it again. And it is Dunka for even more hand boosting. So now let's get Melusine out. And I think we will wait to use the Melusine Cultist's ability because we don't have enough units out here to take advantage of that rain. And it's a Hawker Smuggler. Okay, yeah, we are definitely going to go after this melee row, though. They are absolutely focusing on the hand boosting. So let's play a Messenger of the Sea and get this rain happening. Now, I'm not playing the Messenger of the Sea next to Melusine. It would, of course, give Melusine another target to increase her base power, which would be nice, but I'd like to have a Cultist here. Because this Melusine Cultist is going to get destroyed in the not-so-distant future. It's Mahakam Defender in the other row. So we could even red Haze to get rid of this Hawker Smuggler. That's not a terrible idea. Or alternatively, we could go Havfrue Singer here on the other side of Melusine to increase the amount of base power Melusine gets, as we were saying before. I think we might want to red Haze, tell you the truth. And I suppose we'll withhold the Melusine order at the moment, because there's just one unit in each row. And then it's Isengrim's Council. So what are they looking to get with that? It's Zoltan. So it'll give us more targets for the rain, though they may convert those rowdy dwarves soon. So I think now we go Alzur's Double Cross. Get out Fulmar, and with him, increase the rain on this row, and that'll be the row that we convert into Storm, in which case, I suppose we use another round of Melusine's ability here. And let's just, while we have the chance, use Curse Scroll here. I'm going to get Sigrdrifa's Rite to replace one of these Freya's Blessings, because it's basically just a better version of the same card. Okay, then it's Ithlin for more hand boosting. So now let's use the Havfrue Singer to heal the Melusine Cultist, spawn in a Deafening Siren, and we have enough rain in this row to last the entire round, but we could go with rain in this row, and then convert this rain into Storm, and then we may get Cerys at the end of this turn. If not, then she is very close to showing up. It's actually extremely unfortunate, because that means that now she has 2 left on her cooldown, and Melusine, of course, will automatically damage 2 of our units at the end of this turn, even if we pass, so we're gonna get Cerys out here, I believe. Oh no, she does not come out if it's the end of the round. Okay, that's actually very nice for us in that case. So that means we draw into Cerys with 1. So let's put her back in the deck. And Ermion is here as a tutor for either Freya's Blessing or Sigrdrifa's Rite. And we did put one of those Freya's Blessings back into our deck, so that does work. I think we probably try to get rid of the Heymaey Herbalist, though. Okay, and we did play one more card than our opponent in round 1. So I think we probably look to dry pass here. They'll go with Zoltan's Company. So yeah, it seems like they were trying to spawn in a bunch of rowdy dwarves to set up some kind of conversion. But they'll win round 2. Okay, and the game really wants to give us Cerys, but we really want her in our deck. And the Cultists do work well with the Havfrue Singer, and as much as I might want to try to switch out the Heymaey Herbalist, I want to make sure that we don't accidentally draw into our last Freya's Blessing, because we're counting on Ermion to tutor that. So we'll stick with this. Okay, they'll go with more hand boosting here with the Hawker Smuggler. So I think we'll play a preemptive Svalblod Cultist here, in anticipation of bringing out Melusine on our next turn. Okay, there's Tempering. I was really hoping you were going to play another unit, but I suppose we still go double Rage of the Sea here. Oh, except we didn't need to do that because we still have Sigrdrifa's Rite. Ignore that. We can go straight into Sigrdrifa's Rite. We don't need to get all the rain out here to use Bride of the Sea to set up Sigrdrifa's Rite. we're fine. We'll just put a little bit of rain on that Hawker Smuggler. This is what we're looking for. And that will bring out Cerys. Who they will... Oh, lock. That is unfortunate. She was going to be really nice for us in this round. But we can still do Ermion into Freya's Blessing. Into, I think we go Messenger of the Sea here, but we're probably going to want a Melusine Cultist out later on. And then there aren't really enough units out there to warrant another round of Melusine's Order just yet. And then more Tempering. Very few units here, but I think that means that whenever they do finally play that one or two last cards from their hand that they've been hand boosting, they're going to be pretty huge. So now let's go with the Havfrue Singer here to heal this Svalblod Cultist, and in doing so, get a Deafening Siren out. And yeah, we'll use Melusine's Order in part just to start setting up for a potential Rioghan finisher. Game Heymaey, it's all special cards to make sure their hand boosting continues. So now let's go with another Svalblod Cultist here, this time to continue to heal Ermion. That way we will continue to proc the Havfrue Singer. And let us continue to use Melusine, because if we do, although it's not worth a ton of points with the damage, increasing the total amount of rain will eventually set up Rite of the Sea to give us another round of Sigrdrifa's Rite. And then here's a highly boosted defender, which is kinda unfortunate, because that does make Red Haze rather difficult. So tell you what, let's go with another round of Rage of the Sea, this time in their range row. That will set up this Bride of the Sea, which we can now use to play Sigrdrifa's Rite, which we can use to get Fulmar back out here. Now, we won't get his deployability because this is summon, not play, but we can still use him with his order ability to convert one of these rains into a storm. So let's deliberately increase the rain over there in anticipation of doing that. Okay, and more special cards, although the armor is not what we like to see, because that is going to make the rain far less effective. And speaking of rain, let's go with a Freya's Blessing here to get a Melusine Cultist out, and that should give us just enough to keep this Svalblod Cultist alive and not get destroyed by Melusine, because this will boost the Cultist by 1 since there's rain in this row. And let's increase the rain. So we're gonna try to wait before we use Fulmar to get as much out of the row effects here as possible. And then it's Simlas. Okay, that is one of the highly boosted cards. It is for a Lacerate. I was kind of hoping you were going to go in the other row. We're starting to run out of space. I mean, probably going to do it in our melee row now. It's good damage. But we will get some of those Sirens back with the healing from the Svalblod Cultist still setting up the Havfrue Singer. And now we finally have a way to use Red Haze. So let's go with Melusine Cultist here, further increase the rain duration. And before we lose this opportunity, let's take out Simlas, and we will once again increase that rain duration. Okay, it's Torque, so not so surprisingly, a hand-boosting enabler. So this last card they have, whatever it is probably very significantly hand-boosted. We've seen some hand-boosted units already, but I think we need to assume that this is their biggest one. But for now, we just continue. Put on the rain. And we continue to heal people. And so, of course, our final play will be to increase the rain even more, convert that rain into storm, and then go Fucusya into Rioghan to instantly trigger all of that storm and give us a bunch of damage and boosts. So we have that plus a pretty strong lead here. It's a Glace. Oh, this will be interesting. That gets them up to 94. It's a lot, but I think we still have this. So let's add to the Rain, which is now 10 turns, convert that Rain into Storm, and then use Fucusya here. And we need to play her in the melee row so we don't accidentally replace that Storm. Here's Rioghan, and with that, boom. So there's a look at a Skellige, Cerys plus Melusine, Weather, and Self-Damage deck for the new Power Shift seasonal event. If you liked the video, then make sure to hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment down below to let me know which other cards, archetypes, and factions you'd like us to experiment with next. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.